information sharing session. We were going to hold this session on November 3rd, but we had some technical difficulty that morning. And so we had to reschedule to today. We did send out the PowerPoint slide deck that we were going to share with you all on November, but we wanted to go ahead and we wanted to host a meeting this month again, just to reiterate the information that we were going to share on November 3rd, and then, of course, give you all opportunities to ask questions. So really quick, just quick introductions here. My name is Chad Allgood. I'm one of the co-directors of the Division of Early Childhood Care and Development here at the Mississippi Department of Human Services. Also joining from our office, I have Vicki Lowry, who is my co-director of the division, and then also joining is Laura Mallory, who formerly Laura Dixon. Laura is one of the deputy directors of the division, and Laura is also our policy advisor. So just, I think most of you have attended these before, but just some quick housekeeping. When you enter, if you'll just make sure that you mute yourself, just make sure that you're muted. We will begin by just going over some updates from the division. We'll spend a little bit of time going over those updates. And then at the end of the session, we'll give you all an opportunity to ask questions. If you do have a question, if you will type your question in the chat box, and then when we do get to the question section, then Laura will relay those questions to either myself, Vicki, or she may answer the question as well. And then we'll answer your questions in that regard. So again, I think we'll go ahead and get started with the updates. So the first thing is we're still working on wrapping up booster shot closeouts. We're like that close to getting done with that. We have a lot of providers have been working very diligently with our folks here to get the closeout done. We appreciate y'all so much for helping us get that closeout done. It's a tremendous help to us. If so, we have just a few providers that still have not submitted or completed their booster shot closeout. So if you have not done so, please do so as quickly as possible. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is we sent a flyer out towards the beginning of this month. And if you didn't get the flyer, or if you missed it in your email, we're going to post the registration link for this. Beginning tomorrow evening, we are going to be hosting a series of town hall meetings. And these town hall meetings are going to be specifically focused on our quality system our quality system as it relates to early childhood in Mississippi. And this will be opportunity. This will be an opportunity for us to hear from you. This is thank you, Laura. She just posted the link in the chat. So what's going to happen at these meetings is we want to hear from you all on our current quality system, our current quality supports. This is the flyer that we sent out. So the topics of discussion are going to be about the current Standard Center designation.
You want to make sure you reach out to Carlos for that?
Just a reminder, if y'all will mute yourselves when you come in the session, we appreciate it. We're just getting a little bit of feedback. So topics of discussion during the town hall, the Standard Center designation is one of them. We're also going to be talking about the Mississippi Child Care Resource and Referral Network. That's the sites, the locations. The early childhood workshops and trainings that are offered, early intervention workshops and trainings and technical assistance that focus on early intervention and working with children that have special needs, our on-site technical assistance, our leadership and our business training pieces, family engagement, and then other components of our quality system. So what this is not going to be us doing a lot of talking. We're not going to get on there and we're not going to be talking about these elements. We want to hear from you all on these elements. We are going to be talking about each one of these pieces, what's working well. We want to know what works well for you all. What of these elements do we need to work on? What of these elements do we need to make some improvements on? So that's going to be the topic of those discussions. There are going to be 6 opportunities to participate. If you do not have to participate in all 6 of these. We just wanted to make sure that we gave everyone opportunities to participate. So we're holding these on different days of the week and at different times. These are predominantly going to be in the evening. Again, acknowledging that, or excuse me, the ones during the week are primarily going to be during the evening, just to give you all an opportunity. Once you've sent all the kiddos home. So the first one starts tomorrow at 6 to 8. Then we also are holding some Saturday sessions. They'll be Saturday morning. We're scheduling, 2 hours for each session. So the next one will be on this coming Saturday from 9 to 11. And these are the dates that are listed on the flyer. And then we're going to skip next week because it's Thanksgiving. We want you all to spend time with your family for Thanksgiving. And then we'll resume on the next week, December 2nd. Now that one will be from 12 to 2. It's the only one that'll be during the day. And then December 4th, which will be that Saturday, again, 9 to 11 in the morning. December 9th of the following week, which will be 6 to 8 p.m. And then again, Saturday, December the 11th, which will be from 9 to 11 also. We're gonna, as we get participation, we're gonna kind of gauge whether or not we need to open up additional dates, additional times. But we really want to use this as an opportunity to hear from you all on our quality system. And like I said, we're at a point where we're going to be looking at redesigning our quality system. But we don't, and we want to fix what needs to be fixed, but we also don't want to lose what's working well. And we want to keep those elements that are strong in place. Okay, we'll move on, Laura. So the next thing was all certificates have been reissued to reflect a lower copayment rate. These lower copayment rates for parents went into effect November 1. We did send an email out to parents via email. You can check your portal, check the provider portal for the updated rates. Now, just to make sure that, just to clarify, the copayment update doesn't indicate completion of redetermination. So if there are parents that are going through redetermination, they still have to complete that. All right. And just the notice of the lower copayment alone does not signify that is complete. Still also want to remind you all that even though we put lower copayment rates in place, DECCD is still covering parent copayments at least through December. And we will be sending out correspondence very, very soon about if we're going to continue covering copayments beyond December of this year. We do have a new online change of provider flow that launched last week on November 10th. There are training sessions. There were training sessions that were held for parents and providers. We did record those trainings and they'll be posted to the website. You can watch those recorded trainings at your convenience whenever you would like to. The training slides are on the website now, so you can access those training slides if you want to go ahead and checking that out. We're still looking at the reimbursement of school-age children. Now, these are school-age children that you may have provided full-time care for during the year when normally these children would have been in school. What we found when we went into the ledgers to look at start issuing these full-time reimbursements, there were providers that had already claimed the school-age children as full-time. So we've got to get that corrected before we can issue those reimbursements. So we're asking you all to review any of the ledgers that you submitted for school-agers to make sure that you claim them correctly during this time period, which means you should have claimed them as part-time, not as full-time. And if you have any questions about that, you can send an email to the CC Payment, or you can call our call center. If you do see that there are any errors, if you do see that there are any errors on your ledger, you will need to submit an adjustment to that ledger to clear up any errors. And once those errors are cleared up, we can begin issuing the reimbursement for the full-time for school agers. Okay, Laura, we can go to the next. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is just, again, remind everybody about where we are with the stabilization, the Child Care Strong grants. Mississippi did receive a little over $319 million for child care providers. Any licensed or registered child care provider is eligible for one of the grants. The information about the grants is live. It's on the website. You can click the link there to read up on Child Care Strong. It's really, really important that you all go to the website and read through the information that's there. This page has been updated since the beginning of the month, and we are going to be making updates frequently. So make sure that you're visiting that website often. When I say often, I would at least check it at least a couple of times a week. Just make sure that you're looking, that we're getting the information out there for you. There are 3 phases to Child Care Strong program. Right now, we're in phase 1, which is preparing for the applications. So you need to go ahead and go and visit the website. It has instructions on getting ready for applying for the grants. There is a calculator, an estimator that can give you an estimate if you choose to. You have 2 options when applying for the grant. One of the options is you can take the amount that we put together a formula that's based on estimated operating costs. You have the option of taking that amount, that estimated amount from that formula, or if you feel that that amount is not sufficient or does not meet your operating cost, then you do have the option of submitting documentation showing what your operating costs are. It is important that you go ahead and be looking at your operating costs, because when you apply for the grant, even though you will not, even if you choose to go with the formula, even if you decide not to go, or even if you decide to just go with the formula, you won't have to submit your documentation, but you are going to have to attest that the amount that you're being awarded is representative of your operating cost. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 will begin December 1. We will begin taking applications, and in an effort to streamline the award process, we are requiring that providers, all the awards will be made via direct deposit. We're not going to be sending out paper checks through the mail. This is just to ensure that we can turn around the award as quickly as possible. So direct deposit is going to be a requirement to receive your Child Care Strong grant. There are instructions for completing the direct deposit registration process. If you're not sure what those steps are, you can send an email to CC Payment, our CC Payment email, or you can contact our call center for information about that. But we are going to be sending out an email with specific instructions and information about completing your direct deposit registration process. And then after we end phase 2, then we will begin phase 3, which will be the closeout process. Laura, Vicky, did I miss anything there? Anything that else needs to be mentioned?
Chad, I would just like to add in there that our training team will be providing training sessions and information for providers on the application process and how to access that link to the application, and then how to complete it. Once that is available for access by providers, we will be doing trainings that will be available for providers, and so that is coming. And we did not have that included on the slide, but that information will be coming out through email as well.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Folks are coloring on the screen. That's okay. So again, talking about the Child Care Strong grants, again, the applications will open on December 1. To prepare, some things that you all need to be doing right now. Make sure that you're eligible. Again, to be eligible, if you were licensed or registered by child care licensure with the Mississippi State Department of Health, you should be eligible. You also need to make sure that you're in financial good standing. What that means, we'll be posting what that means on the website this week. Make sure that you complete your registration for direct deposit. If you have already registered for direct deposit, then you're good to go. If you're already receiving your subsidy payments via direct deposit, you don't have to register again. If you're already signed up for direct deposit, then you're good. Collect at least about 3 months of expense reports to get an average of what your operating costs are. Your monthly operating costs are. That's what the formula is based on. It's based on a monthly expense amount, and then the total award will be a 6 month. Will be whatever your monthly expenses are that cover a 6 month period. And then once you collect, like I said, once you collect your operating expenses, we suggest that you go onto the website, do the calculator estimate, compare what you see your monthly expenses are versus what the calculator produces, to see if the award, if you will choose to go with the formula award, or if you will submit your documentation. We do have, I said CC payments, and I apologize. We do have an email that is set up specifically for Child Care Strong questions. So make sure that you click make sure that you make note of the email address, which it is just childcarestrong@mdhs.ms.gov. So if you have specific questions about the Child Care Strong grants, send your email to this email, not to CC payment. I apologize for that mix up. So anything I need to add about that, Laura or Vicky? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so this is a reminder. We have received a lot of questions from providers across the state, and then we have also had I've also had multiple people that work with providers, different groups that provide training and professional development, that have specifically asked about what I'm about to talk about. So what we're being told is these providers are being contacted by bookkeeping firms or entities that provide bookkeeping and accounting, specifically about the grant writing process. And what we're being asked is, can these bookkeeping firms, can providers pay these firms to help them with the grant? So we went directly to the Office of Child Care to ask if this was an allowable expense, and this was verbatim what the response that we received from the feds. In response to Mississippi's question below, which was about the bookkeeping, paying another entity, including a bookkeeping firm, to apply for stabilization subgrants and assist with documentation as part of the grant management is not an allowable use of subgrant funds. Subgrant funds can only be used for services that are necessary to maintain or resume child care services. So let me explain. If you currently use a bookkeeping firm to do like your payroll and for that purpose, if a bookkeeping firm is helping you with your day-to-day operations, like if you have a bookkeeper that runs your payroll, that is allowable because that is part of your daily operating expenses. What you cannot do is you cannot use the services of a bookkeeping firm to put together your application to apply for this grant or to do services related to this grant award. You can, like I said, if you do use a bookkeeper for payroll, for things of that nature, normally that's fine, but you can't use a bookkeeping firm specifically for this grant. And you cannot use grant funds to pay a bookkeeping firm to do that for you. We have tried to make the application as easy to do as possible. We tried to streamline it. We're offering, extensive training on the application, on applying, on how to utilize the funds, on the reporting process. We really don't feel that you're going to need additional assistance beyond that. Of course, that's up to you. But whether or not whatever decision that you make, again, you cannot use Child Care Strong funds to pay a bookkeeping firm to help you apply or to help you manage the grant. Just wanted to make sure that we clarified that. So the last thing that I want to share, and then we'll get into the questions. This website that we pulled up, this is a website on the federal TA website. It has some other resources in addition to the ones that we've posted on our website, which includes information about the stabilization grants. There are a couple of webinars that provide some really good information also if you have an opportunity to watch those. And then there's some guides and some tools that are on that website that you can use as well. And like I said, these are in addition to the resources that we're posting on our website. But if you haven't had a chance to go to that website, just take a few minutes to go visit the website, check it out. There's a lot of useful information, a lot of useful tools that you can access there. So just check that out if you haven't had a chance to. All right, Laura, Vicky, did I miss any updates that we need to include? Anything that I missed?
I think we're ready for questions. And as those are coming in, we already have several great questions that we'll go ahead and pose. If any questions have come up for you and you have not posted those yet, you can go ahead and put those in the chat. Just a reminder that we aren't able to address provider specific questions. If there's something specific to your program or to your center or to a family in your program, you'll have to reach out to us either through email or through our 800 number so that we can address those specifically. But we do have some great questions, so we'll go ahead and jump right in. What is the time interval start to finish for the distribution of stabilization grants? 6 months or 21 months or another number of months?
So what we're going to do is this, for the initial round of child care stabilization grants, the applications will open on December 1 and they will close, is it September 30th, Laura, of next year? Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. So this first round of stabilization grants will open on December 1 and you will have until September 30th of 2022 to apply and receive the stabilization funds. And the reason that we're setting that period aside is we want to give everyone an opportunity to apply, but on the chance that we do have some child care providers that choose not to apply for whatever reason, we will open a second round of funding if there is funding left over. If stabilization funds are left at the end of the September 30th, in other words, if everyone has applied that's planning to apply for the first round, we still have additional funds left. We will open a second round of stabilization grant applications. And those that have applied for the first round, once they have finished the closeout and they have done so properly and are still in financial good standing, they will possibly be eligible to apply for a second round of funding.
Okay, so our next question is, can you explain this in DHS's info about the Child Care Strong applications? This makes it sound like child care providers can't charge fees for services if they get a Child Care Strong grant, and I'm sure that isn't what you intend. Please clarify. Here's what the website says, and I can handle the response to this question. Quote, providers are encouraged not to collect co-payments or tuition payments from families during the grant period to the extent possible and prioritize such relief for families struggling to make either type of payment. That language is directly from the Act. That is not our preference for provider consideration. That language is directly from the Act. The lawmakers wanted providers to encourage the provision of free childcare to as many families as they were financially able to do so with the provision of the Child Care Strong grants. As the language says there, providers are encouraged to consider this. It is not a requirement for the grant, but it is language from the Act, and states were asked to provide that and pass that encouragement through our application and advertisement process. So that is where that language came from. It is not a requirement for the use of Child Care Strong. It just was a hope for the lawmakers that it could not only benefit the child care provider, but also be of benefit to families. Okay, next question. Can we use an existing direct deposit or can we use the one we already have? I think you've already addressed that, but I'll just repeat that if you've already set up direct deposit through our office, you do not need to do that again. Next question is, I saw the $400,000 cap, but does the money come in per month or one total amount? So providers will receive 6 monthly payments. Their total award amount will be divided by 6, and you will get 1/6 of your total award amount based on the information that applies to your program, mainly your childcare capacity size and whether you are licensed or registered, whether you provide 24-hour care, whether your license indicates that you serve children with special needs, all of those kinds of elements that are spelled out for the bonuses on our website. So there is not a lump payment, but a monthly payment for 6 months. We are recording this today's session, and we will provide it as soon as we can. We have had a little bit of trouble with our recordings. That's why they are so delayed, but we will be sharing this session as soon as we can. I just want to remind folks, we have already shared these slides with you all. And so all of the information that Chad discussed today was sent out to providers via email. So I just wanted to remind you that you do have that as a resource until the recording is available. Okay, so next question is, what months of expenses do we need to provide? And the Act simply states that the awards have to be based on the provider's current monthly operating expenses. So your last several months would be the ones that are most current to you, that can give you an idea of your current monthly expenses. So just the last 2-3 months would be the ones that would help you get an idea of your current expenses if you don't already know that. Okay, I've had a couple of questions about providers who have indicated that they thought that they had completed the direct deposit registration, but are still receiving paper checks. And so I can share with you that we received a file yesterday from Regions that had 255 providers who started the registration process and then were contacted to submit another piece of information and have not done so yet. And so they were not able to complete the direct deposit registration. So keep an eye out on your email from CC Payment today and tomorrow. Those that list of providers will be reaching out to directly to let you know if you are one of those providers. So if this situation applies to you, keep an eye out for an email from CC Notices. I apologize, from CC Notices from our office. And then if you have not received that by Friday, then go ahead and give us a call or shoot us an email about that. But give us a little bit of time to link that list of names with emails so we can get that out and let you know. Or you could go ahead and look in your junk folder or your spam folder, or just back through your emails for an email that would have come to you from Regions that was asking for an additional piece of documentation. And I don't know any more about the specifics of what documentation would be missing for each provider. That would have been directly sent through that Regions email. So I apologize, I couldn't answer any additional questions about that. I just know that did come through for us yesterday afternoon, and that may be able to address the issues that some of the folks are asking about here in terms of direct deposit. Okay. The question is, if you have a business account that you're dealing with, is a requirement that you use Regions Bank to receive direct deposit? No, it is not. Regions is the bank that our agency uses to issue the direct deposits. You can direct those direct deposits to go to any bank that you're currently working with. It does not have to be a Regions account. How far back do we check for school age overpayment? I would just go back and look at those ledgers that were beginning in April of 2020. And just during those school months where you think you were claiming for school age children that were with you in your program. If you know that your school district was not virtual, or that this doesn't apply to you, then you don't have to go back and look at every month. Just those in which you would have submitted for that you think you could have submitted full-time care for during those school months. Just those, but going back to April of 2020. If we choose the base payment, will we still have to submit the 3 months expenses? So our formula is available on the website. You can go in and look and see what your base payment would be using those estimations. And if you think this is at as much or more than my monthly expenses, the application will ask you to just indicate that you know this amount is as much or more, and that amount is just fine for you, and you're ready to submit your application. Or it will ask you to indicate that that the amount that we are proposing does not meet your current monthly estimated expenses, and then it will instruct you to upload at that point. So if you have indicated that you're willing to accept the estimated monthly amount, then you do not have to submit any monthly expense information to us. Just your attestation that that is as much or more than your monthly expenses is enough. Okay, next question is it an allowable use of subgrant to pay for past expenses for costs that incurred after the declaration of the public health emergency in January of 2020? The ARP language does allow for providers to go back and claim expenses that were not already covered through prior federal funding from office. So things that if you got a booster shot that were not covered by booster shot or paycheck protection or any other federal program, if you had expenses that were prior to March 11th, you are allowed to go back and cover that. And all of that will be explained in our training. So we'll clarify that for you too. Okay, next question is, how long after applications are submitted will funds start being dispersed? So we will have 30 days to approve an application. That is our timeline. That timeline was suggested to us by the language in the act through the federal funders. And so that's what we will be sticking to. We will not exceed that 30-day processing time. And then the disbursement schedule right now will be on or about the 20th of the month prior to the month of reimbursement. So for instance, if your application is approved with a start date of, let's just say, March 1st, then the funds would leave our office for the month of March on or around February 20th through that direct deposit. So, you know, a couple of days before the start of the month in which the award begins. But all of that schedule is also on our website and available if you forget that or if it's still unclear. How will we access the application on December 1st? It will be an online application. We will have paper applications available in Spanish and Vietnamese, but English applications will be available online through a link that will be posted on our website. And we will also be sending a notification to our providers and through the Department of Health listserv that the link is live and active. Okay, we are being told that the health and safety is a requirement. Where is this type of information found? Not seeing as a requirement on the Child Care Strong site. So on the Child Care Strong site, there is sort of an eligibility tree that the feds have posted that sort of helps you decide yes or no responses, can sort of lead you to what your eligibility is. So if you are not a subsidy provider, then you do not have to have completed the health and safety requirement. If you are a subsidy provider and you have not, if you're not a subsidy provider and you have not completed those subsidy health and safety requirements, then you are required to have been licensed or registered on March 11th and complete all health and safety requirements described by the Department of Health. So it depends on the type of provider that you are. That would indicate whether you need the health and safety requirement. All of the CCDF providers, if you are wanting to be eligible as a CCDF approved provider, then you would have to complete the health and safety requirement in order to be eligible.
Hey, Laura, can you just say that last part about the CCPP providers versus non-CCPP providers and the health and safety?
Okay. So all CCPP approved providers have to have the health and safety requirements that are required for the subsidy program. That's a requirement for access to these funds. So if you are an approved provider and your health and safety requirements, you've got staff that don't have them, then those folks need to get caught up. If you are eligible for these funds because you were licensed or registered on or before March 11th, and you meet all health and safety requirements set out by the Department of Health's licensure division, you do not also have to meet the subsidy requirements for health and safety. Okay, the next question is if we have funds that are issued in December 1st, will we have until September 30 to utilize the funds? Yes, the expenditure deadline is September 30. Any funds not expended by September 30, we'll have to look at recoupment for that. So the earlier that you get your application in, the more time you will have to expend your funds. Next question is, why do these funds have to be issued in a grant? Because that is the requirement of the language of the act. We're required to issue these in a grant, these funds through a grant. Next question is, will there be a contact for us we can call and check to ensure that an expense is a covered expense? Yes, we will have a team of folks, and you can always contact your R&R team if you have misplaced the information that we'll provide to you about the team. But your first line of defense to access that team is an email to childcarestrong@mdhs.ms.gov. That'll be the way that you can get into that team. Those team members will be placed around the state, so we don't have a single phone number for those folks, but an email to Child Care Strong will get you connected to folks that can help you address that. Next question is, if a provider does not accept CC payments, how do they sign up for direct deposit in order to receive their stabilization grant? That information will be available on our website. We had asked for that update to be made, so I can't say for sure that it's not available, that has not been posted since we've been in our session today, but it will be available on our website. It'll be a link that you can follow to start that process. Please provide the process for correcting ledgers. So that would be your ledger adjustment request process that you use anytime there's an error on your ledger. It's the same process that you guys are currently using. If you think you need to clean up some of your old ledgers around school-age children. Okay, next question is, what if you are in participation with a Head Start or Early Head Start program? I'm not really sure. That would depend on the level of participation, the level of financial participation in which your program is involved with the Head Start or Early Head Start. So just shoot an email with your specifics to childcarestrong@mdhs.ms.gov. Is your calculator the same provided by HHS? The calculations that we're using are specific to the funding amount that we received as a state and the amount that we're able to offer through bonuses. So the formula that we're using for awards is specific to Mississippi. The cost calculator is going to determine a base award amount per month. And so the total is capped at 400,000, meaning that over 6 months, no provider can receive an award amount in excess of 400,000 total payments over the 6 months. Next question is a very good question. Angela would be very excited to see this question and give us the opportunity to clarify. If you registered for direct deposit with your C-Care provider number, you will need to set that up with your regular number. If you are not a temporary emergency site, because all of those emergency C-Care provider numbers are going to be closed if they have not been closed already. Okay, Chad, Vicky, it's looking at time that I need to step away from the session today.
Sure.
And so I can you see the chat? I won't be able to drive slides anymore once I step away, but can you all see the chat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can see the chat. Just trying to see where we ended. I think the next question, okay. Let's see. Yeah, the next question, just really quick about the health and safety, it being required every 2 years. I think right now, it's with the standard center, they have to have had the health and safety. Is that right? And the standard designation is required as part of that process.
Chad, this is Lydia. Do you need me to answer those questions about health and
Yeah.
safety?
Yes, please.
Okay, yes, it is required every 2 years. If you are uncertain whether your 2 years is up, if you just look on your certificates from when you took the training, it'll give you the date, and then you just calculate the 2 years. Yes, we are in high demand right now to get those health and safety trainings done. So we are offering those trainings more often, and the Department of Health is doing it. Theirs closes pretty quickly. They're limited in virtual. They're doing it virtually, so they're limited in the number. The R&R system, the R&R network is doing it face-to-face. They are allowed to come to your center and do a training for your staff. Remember, there's going to be protocols that will be in place because of COVID and the way we must do these trainings. But all you have to do is contact your local R&R, and they will be able to get that training done for you. Also, MECIC at USM, the Inclusion Center, they have been trained on giving this training as well. And so they will be able to offer some from their staff, along with the R&R staff and Department of Health. You are welcome to call me at any time, reach out to me via email. And if you're having trouble with that, and I will take care of it on my end for you.
Thank you, Lydia. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So yeah, we've just got about 4 minutes. I'm going to try to go through these questions, the ones that we haven't answered. Will the grants be taxable as income? Yes, they will be. Stabilization grants will be considered taxable income for your business on your federal tax return. Let's see, there's a question about calculating the amount of the award. When you go online with the calculator, you can enter, what you'll do is you'll enter your license capacity, whatever licensing has set as your maximum capacity. And then there's a couple of other factors, like if you serve children that have special needs. Now, this is if you've indicated to licensing that you serve children with special needs. You have to, that has to be part of your license. Also, if you are open, if you provide 24-hour care, there's also a piece about, let's see. There are several bonuses, but your base award is established by your operating capacity. And then, so once you enter your operating capacity, and then whatever the size of your center is. So small centers are considered, they have a licensed capacity between 0 and 16 children. Medium has a capacity of 17 to 37, and then large is considered 37 plus. And if you have specific questions about using the calculator, again, just email childcarestrong@mdhs.ms.gov. And I'll put that in the chat one more time. So if you will send an email to that email address, someone will help you get that worked out. Let's see. If you have questions about getting copies of your ledgers, if you will send an email to the cc.payment@mdhs, that they can get you information on copies of your ledgers. Let's see. We're trying to roll again with the direct deposit. We're trying to turn the award around as quickly as possible. As soon as we start getting applications, as soon as an application is approved, we're going to move that through for the award. Our plan is that once an application is submitted, we're going to try to get the turnaround somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks once the application is successfully submitted. And yes, we are going to be providing training specifically on the stabilization grants, the Child Care Strong grants, on how to apply, but then also how to keep up with reporting. We're actually going to have a team of people that they're going to be dedicated to working with child care providers on that purpose. And with that, we are at time. If you have any other questions, if you will put those in the chat, we are going to save the transcript of the chat, and we will post answers to those questions on our website. We are also recording the session today. So if you missed part of it, you can definitely you'll be able to view the recording on the website. We will post it once we get the recording processed, so you can go back and you can watch the info session in its entirety. I want to thank everybody for taking time today. If you can, join us tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock for our first town hall. We'll have another one on Saturday morning from 9 to 11. If you can join us for one of those, please do so. Or if you can't make one of those, please join us at one of the 6 opportunities. So thank everybody for coming. Shoot your any remaining questions you have in the chat. I'll keep it open for a few minutes. Thank you all. Have a great day. Y'all take care and stay safe. Okay. We'll see you next month.